Now that we've talked about proportions and you've practiced with proportions, it's time to look at how we can use proportions to solve problems with percents. So you can represent a problem where A is P percent of B using the proportion A over B equals P over 100. Percent means out of 100. So A is a part of the base B. This is always the part on top out of the total on the bottom. Sometimes we say is over of equals percent over 100. So let's look at using a proportion to solve what percent of 9 is 5. So a proportion is when two fractions are equal. I'm going to make it like this. I know one of the numbers in my proportion is always 100 because it's a percent. And here I know I'm finding a percent. What percent? I don't know the x, the numerator here. Of 9, what percent of 9 is 5 means that 9 is the denominator and 5 is the numerator. This is not a problem where you can just solve it saying 9 goes into 100 10 times, because it doesn't. It goes in an uneven amount of times. So what percent of 9 is 5? I'm going to use a cross product. I'm going to multiply 5 times 100. And then I'm going to divide by 9. So I'm going to do 500 divided by 9. Which I'm always going to do long division, just as a reminder. 9 goes into 50. Well, 9 doesn't go into 5. 9 goes into 50 5 times. Because 5 times 9 is 45. That leaves 5 left over. And I bring down the 0. And 9 goes into 50 5 times. That's 45, so there's 5 left over. And that goes on forever and ever and ever, so it's 55.5 repeating. 55.5 repeating percent is my answer. So, see if you can set up a proportion for numbers 1 and 2. A proportion is when two fractions are equal. Here, what percent of 28 is 4? I can multiply 4 times 100 and divide it by 28 to get my answer. 400 divided by 28. Well, I know they're both divisible by 4, so I could really be doing 100 divided by 7. 100 divided by 7. 7 goes into 1 no times. 7 goes into 10 once. Oops, sorry. With 3 left over. 7 goes into 30 4 times. 4 times 7 is 28. Got 2 left over. I get an extra 0. 7 goes into 20 twice with 6 left over. 7 goes into 60 8 times. This keeps going. If you use a calculator, good. Well, we could do 400 divided by 28. We're going to get 14.28571428571. It keeps going on and on and on. Let's see, so 571 was that part? That part repeats. So it's 14.285714 repeating percent. If someone asks you to round that answer to the 10th of the percent, what would that be? So that would be approximately 14.3%. Okay? What percent, I don't know the percent, of 80 is 30? So I'm going to just simplify this first and say I'm dealing with 3/8. What percent of 8 is 3? So I do 3 times 100 divided by 8. So 300 divided by 8 will give me my percent. Sorry, let's just circle that one. So again, 300 divided by 8. 8 doesn't go into 3. 8 goes into 30 3 times with 6 left over. 8 goes into 60 7 times. 4 left over. And 8 goes into 45 times with nothing left over. This should just be 37.5%. Okay. So, finding a part of a base. What number is 15% of 300? So, I always have 100 as one of the numbers in my proportion. I know the percent this time, so I'm going to put 15 over 100. That's what 15% means. What number is 15% of 300? 300 is the total. You can solve this a variety of ways. You could do a cross product. You could also think, well, 100 times 3 is 300, so 15 times 3 will give me my answer. It's 45. Not 45%, just 45. You can use the same idea to find the base. There's 3 things you can be missing: the percent, the part, or the base. So if you receive 189 votes, that's 45% of the votes in the student council election. We're going to try and figure out the total number of students who voted. We're looking for the total. So we have the percent, 45 over 100. We have how many you got, 189, but we don't know this part. So if you want, you could use a cross product. You could simplify this first. That might be nice. 189 over x equals 9 over 20. That's a little bit easier. And I can do a cross product, or I could see how many times 9 goes into 189. Equivalent fractions can make this really nice. 9 goes into 189 21 times. So I'm going to multiply 20 by 21 to get my total number of students. And 20 by 21, if you remember, is 420. 420 students. So, try these two. What number goes over the 100? 62. What number is 62%? Means x over 200. Sorry about the zeros there. Oops. Again, I can use equivalent ratios to say, well, 100 times 2 is 200. So 62 times 2 should give me my answer. It's 124. Where does the 117 go? 117 is on top, along with 78. 100's on the bottom, and now I have that. So I can use a cross product. Let's see, 117 times 100 divided by 78 will give me my answer. I might want to use a calculator. Oops. So 117 times 100 divided by 78, 150 is my answer.